And it's actually happening. Tom Aspinall is defending his interim title before the, disputed champion right now, Jon Jones. And Jones has been cleared. He can go into training, he can compete now. And they're still going with the granddaddy, Stipe Miocic, as Jon Jones' next opponent. Whereas Tom Aspinall is fighting Curtis Blaydes, as we thought. And if it wasn't going to be Jon Jones, Curtis Blaydes being the next opponent is perfect. It's the one we all want to see. But they're the co-main event. The main event is going to be Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. It is all confirmed. It's all official. So that's going to be a sleeper of a main event, literally. But interesting enough, Curtis Blaydes was not the original opponent that they first went to for Tom Aspinall. The opponent they wanted for him was actually Ciryl Gane, the guy who's allegedly ducked so many different fighters. Along the way, Ciryl Gane has been demanding for a title fight, and they gave it to him, but he still didn't take it. This time, he didn't take it because he is pursuing a acting career, which is great for him. He's probably making more in this movie role he's in than in fighting. Why get punched in the face when you could just go and act and potentially make more money? And also, Ciryl Gane seems to be a pretty big deal over there in France. He's also going to be holding the Olympic torch for the 2024 Olympics. The guy's about to be the next French Dwayne Johnson, and everything goes well for him. Maybe he never comes back and fights. I mean, if he starts making a lot of money in acting, he's had like small roles in a bunch of different movies and shows. If he actually makes a big career out of this, I'm all for it, man. Go and do your thing, go and act. But at the same time, on the sports side of it all, I mean, this guy was asking for a title fight a lot, and they gave it to him and he didn't take it. He said instead he would rather fight Tom Aspinall later in the year, like in September. Well, he may have missed his opportunity completely now. Tom Aspinall is going to fight Curtis Blaydes in July, and then maybe fights Jon Jones after Jones destroys Stipe Miocic, as we all expect him to do. At least we hope so. I mean, these days, it looks like Jon Jones would rather go up against Fedor Emelianenko. Bring him into the UFC for Jon Jones' legacy fight. Maybe then bring in Randy Couture again. Bring back Cain Velasquez for Jon Jones to fight. Legends. Jon Jones looking for legacy fights, So maybe he keeps fighting these old men instead of actually facing Tom Aspinall. And it's crazy, when the interim champion defends the belt first, and the disputed champion is active, you gotta strip that champion, man. What is going on here? The only time this has ever happened was with Robert Whittaker and Michael Bisping, and even that was all messed up. Eventually, Whittaker got promoted to undisputed champion, but it took GSP to vacate the belt. Every other interim champion that defended their belt was only doing that because the champion was injured during the time, like Renan Barão when Dominic Cruz's body was shattering all over the place. Andrei Arlovski defended his interim title when Frank Mir got in a motorcycle accident, and they stripped him that same year, by the way. But it looks like for Jon Jones, this guy could be active, fight an old man, very advantageous to him, and I don't even know if he needs to fight Tom Aspinall after. What if Jones actually goes out and says, yo, I'd rather fight Alex Pereira next. I want to fight Alex Pereira, not Tom Aspinall. Would they in fact give him Pereira? As far as I know, Tom Aspinall is the real champion. Whoever defends their belt first in this instance is the rightful champion in my eyes, and this is not like a coping way of looking at it. No, I actually believe Tom Aspinall is the real champion of the two, because neither guy defeated a defending champion when they got the belt. Jon Jones defeated Ciryl Gane, who wasn't a champion, was just a contender. Tom Aspinall defeated Sergey Pavlovich, who was not a champion, he was also a contender. They beat a similar kind of contender. Both became champions, but Tom Aspinall's the one that defends it first, while the other one is refusing to fight the other champ. This is why Tom Aspinall is the real champion of the heavyweight division, not Jon Jones. But the history books are all going to say that Jon Jones was the undisputed champ. He gets to do what he wants because he has all this legacy and stuff like that. And even if Aspinall loses to Curtis Blaydes, which is a difficult fight, it could happen. A lot of people are going to be looking at Jones, oh yeah, he was always the rightful champ all along, when I don't agree with that. Even if Aspinall loses, Aspinall was the guy who was acting as a champion originally, and he's taken the tougher fight, whereas Jon Jones is taking the easier fight. And that's nothing against Stipe, it's just the age difference and where they're at in their careers. It doesn't look like Stipe even wants to continue his career after Jon Jones. That's what it seems like. He's only doing it to fight Jon Jones. In fact, he said so. Stipe actually said he doesn't care about the belt. He wants to fight Jon Jones. And he made no indication that he wants to continue his career after. He didn't pursue any other fight before this either. Curtis Blaydes is continuing his career and only getting better, and he's looking to become the world champion. He's much younger than Stipe. He's much more dangerous at this point of his career. Tom Aspinall is the guy who's defending his belt first and the one that's taking the tougher challenge, whereas Jon Jones taking the easier fight and doesn't want to unify the belts. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, Jon Jones does not need the title to sell his fights, and I think he's much bigger than the belt. I don't think putting the belt onto his fight with Stipe sells it that much more as without the belt. And if Jones vacated the title or was stripped of the title, nobody would have any kind of criticism about this whole situation, because then the champion of the heavyweight division could continue to defend their belt like a champion should, and Jon Jones can go and take these money fights, and then he could fight Alex Pereira after. Nobody would bat an eye. In fact, everybody would probably be for it. Everybody would love to see Jones fight Stipe in a non-title fight and then fight Alex Pereira after. Everybody would love it. At the same time, we get to see Tom Aspinall, the heavyweight champ of the world, go and defend his title against active contenders at the same time. It's a win-win for everybody. But what's happening in the heavyweight division now, everything's getting catered to Jon Jones specifically, in expense of the whole heavyweight division, and especially Tom Aspinall himself. And what if Curtis Blaydes beats Aspinall? Now he's the interim champ. What if Jon Jones doesn't fight Curtis Blaydes after? Which might actually happen. Jones could use an excuse like, look at these guys, they're all exchanging belts with each other. None of them are the real champ. I'm the only one that's not losing. Give me Alex Pereira next. Then what about Curtis Blaydes? Then what does he do? Does the interim champ become like the IBF or the WBO championship belts like in boxing or something? Is that how we're going to have to look at all these belts now? How funny would it be though if Stipe somehow pulled it off against Jones? We're all just completely wrong about Stipe. He's still like in his prime somehow, and he catches Jon Jones, puts him out, retires as the heavyweight champion. Even though that's very unlikely, it would be fitting for the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. The heavyweight division is such a mess. Now, the fight itself, Aspinall and Blaydes, I've talked about it before, it's a really good fight. I would think Tom Aspinall has a boxing advantage, but Blaydes is getting much better there, and I don't know if Aspinall could take him to the ground, so it might force it to be a striking match, and that is why I'm giving Aspinall like a 60% chance of winning this as an early prediction. And then after this, we get to all go to sleep. But in the main event, I hope it's not going to be as boring as we think it is. I mean, Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad both have to be like some of those boring fighters in the UFC. Fighting each other in the main event is going to be brutal for a lot of UK fans who have to stay up that late. But maybe we see the Leon Edwards that fought Belal Muhammad the first time. The super aggressive, actually exciting Leon Edwards. If we get that version of him, then it changes the whole dynamic of that, because he was destroying Belal. And for some reason, it was like the only time we've seen him fight that way against a high-level opponent. And if Leon wins, then what is next for him? I think it would have to be Shavkat Rakhmonov, or if to do Shavkat versus JDM, the winner of that should fight Leon Edwards. In the meantime, we know that Islam Makhachev wants to go up to 170 and fight Leon for the belt, or whoever will have the belt by then. But he has to fight Arman Tsarukyan first, I think. Fight Dustin Poirier, beat him. Later in the year, fight Arman Tsarukyan, and then early next year, Islam versus Leon Edwards for the 170-pound title would be insane. And at that point, I think Islam deserves it, right? He would have multiple title defenses, defeated the top contenders at 155. That would be crazy. But if Belal Muhammad somehow pulls it off, he makes all the fans' nightmare come true, becomes the 170-pound champion, which actually in a way would be hilarious. It'd be funny to see like people's reaction to Belal winning the belt. Then what do you do? Do you do an immediate rematch regardless of how the fight goes down? Or does it have to be a close fight for a rematch to happen? But Leon Edwards wasn't a dominant champion. He beat Usman and Colby for title defenses. I don't think that's enough to warrant an immediate rematch. I guess it would have to depend how Belal would beat him, but after all the scrutiny, being one of the most hated fighters in the UFC, Belal Muhammad becoming the undisputed 170-pound champion would be insane. Just for the memes, everybody would become a Belal fan. We'll be talking about him like he's the next GSP and stuff, just for him to get knocked out by Shavkat or something, because Shavkat is like the worst stylistic matchup for Belal Muhammad. And honestly, it does feel like a lot of people are waiting for Shavkat to get the belt. That's what it feels like. Even though there's definitely a lot of people that are Leon fans that think that he's going to reign for a long time, there are some Belal Muhammad fans, believe it or not, that hope he gets the belt. There are some JDM fans as well. But it seems like there's a lot of people expecting Shavkat to win the title and be the next dominant force at 170. He's also the most exciting ranked fighter in that weight class. Even though it looks like a lot of fans have low expectations for this Leon and Belal fight, the results of it are quite interesting. So what do you guys think about all this? What do you guys think about Jon Jones officially ducking Tom Aspinall? What do you think about Ciryl Gane turning down the fight? What do you think about the matchup between Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes? The main event between Leon and Belal? And what should happen moving forward at 170, depending on who wins that main event? And I'll see you guys in the next video.